Hey friends, thanks for stopping by. This is a completely raw and unfiltered video and a plea to any women that are going through perimenopause or menopause. If you are feeling like garbage, like so many of us are, you are not alone. And I wanted to share a personal story as a plea to you for please advocate for yourself with your doctors, physicians, and to make the point that if you are not being listened to, if you are not being heard about what you're going through and your symptoms, when you deep down inside know what is happening to you in your body, find a new doctor, find a new physician, and keep moving forward. Keep advocating for yourself no matter what. Here is my personal story, and I'm sharing it even though it's really personal, in the hopes that maybe some of you are going through the same thing or might have the same scenario that I do. And I have a little bit of a unique situation. I actually have the CHEK2 genetic mutation, and CHEK2 is an extremely rare genetic disorder that I think something like less than 2% of the planet has, and it runs in my family. And I have a family member who also has this genetic disease, and I'm not going to share her personal story in this, but I have a blood relative who has this gene as well, and she has battled cancer on and off for 30 years. And here's Chloe. Remember how I said unedited and unfiltered? Chloe wants to join on the conversation. I'm going to take her collar off at least so that that doesn't annoy us. Anyway, back to my story. So I actually found out that I had this genetic disorder after my blood relative was kind of battling her own issues, and she encouraged me to get the genetic testing. And at the time, we thought we were looking for BRCA. And I even think she thought that she had BRCA. And it turns out that we have CHEK2. And CHEK2 is very similar to BRCA. It actually is a genetic transmutation that, causes breast cancer, colon cancer, uterine cancer, and it's a scary gene to have for sure. And on top of that, I had a hysterectomy in 2015, and I was young. I'm 51 now. So I had everything removed except for my ovaries. So I still have my ovaries, and I didn't realize it, but about a year ago when my father was in hospice and passing away, I was just feeling awful. I had all these weird things happening, which now I know was frozen shoulder, and I was having joint pain. And it was something that I attributed to this, caregiving and helping my family towards the end of my father's life. We had a really rough month, and, wasn't sleeping, was obviously grieving and stressed out and everything that goes along with that. And so it took me a hot minute. It was about that time that I came across Mary Claire Haver's book, The New Menopause, and I ordered a copy for me and one of my sisters actually. And I thought, I hadn't even read it yet, but because of the promos that I had seen and following her channel, I came across her channel and made me realize that some of these symptoms I was having were perimenopause. And so I scheduled an appointment with my doctor, who tried to do a couple of things, but basically I kind of got the pushback that all of us get. There's nothing we can do. You just have to ride the wave, and that I wasn't a candidate for hormone replacement therapy because of my CHEK2 genetic variant. I decided that I wasn't going to take that answer alone from one physician, and that I was going to keep moving through because my quality of life was diminishing, and I already have battled lifelong fatigue, and different things like that. So I've always looked for healthy modalities. I live a pretty healthy lifestyle. I got a degree in natural health and holistic nutrition in 2000. I became a certified Reiki practitioner and a yin yoga instructor in 2017. I have taken a path and a lifetime since I was 20 of I've tried every diet on the planet to kind of manage my health and my well-being. And so this isn't something that I take lightly. And so I decided I was going to push back. And I asked my physician, who I love, even though she couldn't help me, and she took it very well, I said, I need to find a specialist that can help me navigate this CHEK2 variant rather than just being told there's nothing you can do for me. Like, I want to speak to someone who actually can help me with this particular really rare genetic variant, and the fact that I still have my ovaries, but I've had a hysterectomy, and are there any therapies for me? Is hormone replacement an option? I want to find out all of those answers. And I kept pushing, and I found the perfect doctor for me. She's actually at Anschutz Medical Center in Denver, Colorado, and she is wonderful. And she took the time to really kind of delve into this genetic disorder with me. And she also took my genetic profile to the genetics department. Make sure, sorry everyone, Chloe, just sit, buddy. We love you. Yes, isn't she so cute? She took my genetic profile to the genetics department, and they did some more research too, because they're constantly learning more about this CHEK2 genetic, I don't even know what to call it, the CHEK2 gene. They're constantly learning more about it, and there's different markers and different things that you have. And so she wanted to make sure, because some of the variants aren't necessarily indicators that they will promote cancer within your body. And given that my blood relative has had that happen, we were fairly certain of what the answer was going to be, but she wanted to be diligent and thorough. And so through working with her, we figured out that yes, I do have that one, but I already have to get monitored and tested every 6 months. So I have to do an MRI and a mammogram. I have had some really rough ones over the past few years, and I was just getting really frustrated also with having to do that process. I'm very concerned about having mammograms as often as I have to have them. So essentially every year I have to have, not a mammogram, an MRI. I have to have both, but I'm concerned about the MRI. And having to do that every year, but also because those tests are so sensitive, they always find something, and then I have to do biopsies, and I feel butchered, and at the same time, I'm grateful. I'm not complaining, because I know that people don't have the good news that I have gotten through having to go through those scenarios. And so I'm truly blessed and grateful for that. But there's also a sense of every year that this comes around, there's so much anxiety around it, even though I don't practice that, and I am good at balancing the emotions of that through meditation and visualization and being positive. It still is always in the back of your mind, and it's still a very big process to have a mammogram and an MRI and then follow-up tests, because the last few years those tests led to, I've got enlarged lymph node under my armpit, so I had to get ultrasounds for those. I had to have biopsies, and it was a really rough, it's something that's challenging to navigate, and having to do that every year, it weighs on your mental and emotional health too. And so that was another thing that I was trying to get help from this physician was, do I have to continue this pattern of having to have these tests so often, or can we back off on that a little bit? And essentially the answer was no. Unfortunately, with my genetic disorder, she wants me to keep up with that pattern because, better to be safe than sorry. I still have some acceptance and some work to do around that, which is fine. But what I loved about this doctor was, she is very in line with what Mary Claire Haver promotes in that, and what they're discovering about hormone replacement therapy. And she also agreed that at a certain point for a woman, because of all the research that is coming out and all the new things about HRT and what they're learning about HRT, she felt very balanced in the fact that there is a quality of life versus fear of what may or may not happen in the future. And not knowing that hormone replacement therapy causes cancer and different things like that. And I know there's tons of different conflicting information. There's tons of research. That's not the point of this video. This is my personal journey, and I'm not a doctor, full disclaimer. This is just me sharing my story, telling you to advocate for yourself. The decision that my physician and I made for me was that my quality of life was more important right now than any potential fear of the future, fear of what may or may not cause cancer, fear of what, who knows? I don't even know how to say that the right way, but you know what I'm saying. And so she decided that for my personal health and well-being, she was willing to let me try a low-dose estrogen therapy. So I'm on the estradiol patch, and I'm on one of the lowest doses. I'm on the second from the bottom lowest dose. We started on the lowest dose, and then after about 3 months, I bumped up to the next level dose, and it was worth it. My frozen shoulder went away, my joint pain went away, and is so much better. I was even having problems with my feet, my knees, different things like that. And the incredible things that I didn't notice, I noticed hair loss. My hair kind of comes and goes, falling out, just, rides the hormone cycle, which can be frustrating. But the little things I didn't notice were I had eyelashes falling out in my bottom lashes. My eyebrows were like super, super thin. And I kind of assumed, funnily enough, funnily isn't even a word, but after I had COVID years ago in 2000, I thought that that's what had changed my bottom lashes on my eyelashes. I didn't even realize that that was hormone stuff going on, but my eyelashes were falling out. My eyebrows were like really thin. And so when I started the estrogen therapy, my hair loss improved dramatically. My hair stopped falling out. My eyebrows started growing back, and so did my eyelashes. And I couldn't believe it. And so it made a big difference for me. And I was also having heart palpitations. I couldn't sleep. I was having anxiety attacks. And I have stressful things in my life, and I get anxiety sometimes over normal things that are happening and going on, but I was getting odd, very strong bouts of it that just didn't make sense for me, and I couldn't sleep. And so for me, trying the estrogen therapy has been amazing. It's been a huge life change for me, and I am in a situation where my doctor felt comfortable that because I have to get monitored, every 6 months, every year, it's in a cycle and a pattern, which I can explain, but because they have to monitor me so closely, she felt comfortable letting me try the estrogen therapy because I am getting tested regularly, so that if something starts to pop up for me, we can work on that, we can adjust it, we can fix it, we can change it, whatever that looks like. She felt it was worth giving it a shot to give me quality of life. And here I am. And I still have ups and downs. I still have hormone days, where it takes me a minute too to realize that it probably is hormones. My moods, I get really exhausted sometimes. I get a little down sometimes, and I've learned to kind of ride that ebb and flow. But through the things that I'm doing with my diet and with this estrogen therapy, definitely helping me. And so my point in sharing this video is when I feel like I have been in these dark stages and I didn't know what was going on, and I still have them to this day, I wish that someone would have shared their story. I wish that, I kind of knew where to look or what was going on with me or what was going on with my body. And there were things that I just felt like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And it's perimenopause. And luckily, people are having the conversation, thanks to people like Mary Claire Haver. This is not a paid advertisement. I just have really enjoyed, her book and her videos, and I follow her. I follow several people though, and something that I also like to point out is I am not a one-size-fits-all type of person. I don't fully follow one person and their word is gospel. I try my own things. I experiment with my diet and supplements and things that I think might help me, because I also have a degree in natural health and holistic nutrition. And so I'm learning also to listen to my own inner voice and how my body feels about things. And so I'm researching, but what I love is that the conversations are happening. The conversations are getting out there. You know, we're speaking up and we're saying more. And so that's also the point of this video is, you know, the more of us that kind of start to share our stories and speak up about what we're going through, so that we aren't ignored by our doctors, and we can have people who will take that journey and that ride with us and legitimately try to help. And I love that I found this doctor, but had I not kept pushing, I have friends and family who are being told, oh yes, you're experiencing perimenopause, or you're experiencing menopause. You just got to ride it out. That is horrible, because there are things that can be done, and not everyone is a candidate for everything. And I understand that. I mean, I technically am not a candidate under, medical terms to try hormone replacement therapy. But for me, I would rather live some quality of life than worry about something that may or may not happen. And that is the point that I got to. And I got lucky in that I kept pushing until I found the right person who would take the time, who would listen to me, who would help me research, who would help me make a plan. And I'll see how this plan kind of progresses as we go. I started my estrogen therapy in October. And this is now March 28th. And so it's been it's been several months, and we've played with my dosage a little bit. And I noticed right away, there was a month and a half ago, I had to go back down in the dosage because my dosage was on back order and they couldn't get it. And so my doctor said, let's at least do that. And sometimes we actually lower the dose to kind of see how your body does. And I noticed right away it wasn't the right dosage for me. So I bumped back up as soon as I was able to. So it definitely, as frustrating as it is, we have to keep trying. We have to do trial and error, and keep advocating for yourself. Keep experimenting, even though you don't feel like it. I mean, I did not feel like it. I felt so bad at points where I was like, I don't even care. And that's part of the down cycle of perimenopause, and learning how to manage it and navigate it and support yourself through it, through diet, exercise. Meditation is huge for me, and having the right people in your corner. Find those people. Find your friends and your family that are going through this stuff, and share stories and share things that help you. I'll be sharing on my channel different smoothies and different recipes that I'm trying that I feel like support me and also help my gut health and things like that, my energy levels, and kind of what I focus on, because I think it is an experimentation for each of us. All of our bodies are different, but if there's any way that we can help each other through it, then let's do that. Let's do that, because perimenopause sucks. Menopause sucks. I'm not even to menopause yet. Perimenopause is if it's a precursor, dear Lord. Anyway, but let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's share our stories. Thank you for listening. I am happy to help cheer you on through your journey. But my big message and my main takeaway from this video is keep advocating for yourself. Find the person, the physician, the doctor that will listen to you, that will help you make a plan, because there is something out there for you that will help. Thanks. And let's giggle a little, if we can.